Good evening, you're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Farhana Sheh. The Election Commission has set 12 August as polling day for the 6 state elections in Selangor, Negeri Sembilan, Penang, Kedah, Kelantan and Terengganu. Nomination and early voting have been set for 29 July and 8 August respectively.
Bagi maksud menjalankan PRU ke-15, SPR telah menetapkan tarikh-tarikh penting seperti berikut. Tarikh keluar writ 5 Julai 2023 hari ini, hari Rabu. Hari penamaan calon 29 Julai 2023 hari Sabtu. Hari mengundi awal 8 Ogos 2023 Selasa. Hari mengundi 12 Ogos 2023 Sabtu.
More than 9.7 million eligible voters are expected to exercise their responsibilities in the state polls. Selangor leads with over 3.7 million voters, followed by Kedah with over 1.5 million voters and Kelantan with 1.4 million voters. Meanwhile, applications for overseas postal voters, opened since June 15th, will end on July 8th, while domestic postal voter applications will be closed on July 26th. A total of 245 state assembly seats in 6 states will be contested in the upcoming elections.
Two main component parties of Barisan Nasional, MCA and MIC, have decided not to field any candidates in the 6 state elections. However, the parties say they remain loyal to Barisan and would focus on preparing for the next general election instead. MCA Secretary General Datuk Chong Sin Woon said the decision was reached after taking into account the current political situation, where the party will carry out reforms and revival. He said MCA will also assist the coalition's candidates in the state polls. Meanwhile, MIC Secretary General R.T. Rajasekaran said the party's Central Working Committee made a unanimous decision not to participate in the polls. He said the move has been relayed to Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, who heads the government. The two coalitions will be testing their first electoral cooperation in the upcoming state elections. In other news, the Home Ministry has identified the National Registration Department officer who allegedly solicited money from a citizenship applicant. Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said he will be submitting the officer's name to the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) to allow the agency to probe further.
Saya kata sekarang ini ada aduan yang spesifik meminta wang daripada orang yang memohon warga negara yang apabila diketahui telah diluluskan maka diminta sejumlah wang, dan itu perbuatan yang salah. Jadi bila aduan spesifik begitu dengan nama dan sebagainya, saya serah supaya berlaku adil, biar due process mengambil tempat lah. MACC siasat, kita tak boleh spekulate apakah ini satu-satu aduan, apakah seorang, apakah, janganlah.
Saifuddin said the name will be submitted to MACC Chief Tan Sri Azam Baki to assist in MACC investigations. He urged members of the public to lodge reports to the MACC if any government officers ask them for bribes.
Saifuddin also announced several changes at the country's entry points agreed by the cabinet. This follows a recent commotion at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA, that saw a cabinet minister alleging corrupt practices by immigration officers.
Kita akan mengadakan help desk, iaitu yang akan menempatkan bukan jurubahasa tapi pegawai yang boleh berkomunikasi dalam bahasa asing, terutama bahasa Mandarin, bahasa Inggeris, ya, ataupun tak kiralah bahasa yang apa lagi.
The airport, he said, will also increase information signboards to assist incoming travellers before heading to immigration counters. Additionally, the decision on whether an incoming traveller should be denied entry will now be made by a senior immigration department officer of grade 41 and above. Previously, the power to make such decisions was held by grade 29 officers stationed at airports and other entry points. Last Friday, a commotion broke out at KLIA involving Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Datuk Sri Tiong King Sing, where he attempted to intervene in a case where a Chinese national was allegedly prohibited entry into Malaysia. Tiong said his visit to the airport had exposed a culture of corruption by a few immigration officials and the chronic abuse of power. On the progress of the inquiry, Saifuddin said the case is still under investigation by the relevant authorities.
More than 80% of the total 15.8 million Employees Provident Fund or EPF members do not have basic savings upon reaching their retirement age. The benchmark EPF uses to determine basic savings achievement by retirement age of 55 years old is 240,000 ringgit. This means each person can spend 1,000 ringgit per month over a 20-year retirement period.
EPF CEO Datuk Sri Amir Hamzah Aziza said the inadequacy of retirement savings is worrying and called for a more inclusive social protection system. As of May 2023, Amir said only 30% of EPF's active contributors met the basic savings target by age, while only 18% of total members met the same threshold. To rectify this, Amir said EPF is now focused on the extension of EPF coverage and to enhance members' retirement savings adequacy. With only 56% of Malaysia's 16.7 million labour force having some form of formal social protection coverage, the EPF has deployed mobile units to reach out to 7 million people in the informal sector and self-employed who could become an EPF member.
Anutra Sirisena is the founder of the Tenom Innovation Centre that conducts more than 40 workshops and training sessions while upskilling over 2,000 teachers and students in coding and robotics in Sabah. She shares her insights for teachers who would like to explore using artificial intelligence or AI in their teaching or programs.
If you want to do it in a team, do not do it alone. Because having a team will support each other to ensure that the program and the initiative stay sustainable. Number two is not to wait for expensive devices and gadgets in order for you to start. Start with whatever you have, because usually when you start, only then you know how it goes, how you learn through that process and how you expand based on your students, the people you're working with. And finally, to stay sustainable is to continue to upgrade yourself with the necessary skills and knowledge needed in the field of AI especially. And it doesn't really have to be very complex and complicated, but break it down to smaller bite-sized learning materials that can be done easily for any age of the students. Yeah.
Anutra's advice for teachers is to keep up to date with the latest in technology and leverage its use to enhance students' learning experience.
A good teaching, a good lesson will always be in line with the changes and development that's happening out there, because that is going to bring the world to your classroom. Hence, using gadgets, tools that's related to AI is definitely necessary, be it in pedalaman, be it in rural area or even in city, because kids should be exposed to it from the very beginning of whatever is happening outside, number one. And number two, it allows teachers to leverage on what works and what does not work in their classroom using such tools. Coming to the next point, where teacher may feel very overwhelmed with what AI can do and probably feel threatened or even disappointed or demotivated, thinking that your career or profession may come to an end. However, I assure you, teacher will never go out of trend. Teaching profession is always going to be in trend, because teachers who embraces these changes, teachers who are able to adapt and adopt and manipulate these tools, are going to be the teachers that stays.
We will go for a quick break. Stay tuned for more.
Jika smash anda seperti pro, Astro Rewards memberikan anda peluang untuk bersinar di Astro Badminton Cup. Pelanggan Astro boleh memenangi sebahagian daripada RM30,000. Daftar Astro Rewards sekarang di My Astro. Adakah anda masih menggunakan Astro Box yang lama? Pelanggan Astro kini ditawarkan untuk penukaran ke box Astro Baharu secara percuma. Dengan Astro Baharu, stream bila-bila masa walaupun ketika hujan. Hubungi kami untuk maklumat lanjut hari ini.
Welcome back. Thailand's parliament will vote for a new prime minister on July 13th, taking a key step toward government formation almost 2 months after a group of pro-democracy parties swept the election. While Pita Limjaroenrat's Move Forward party won the most seats, there are still no guarantees it will be able to form a government or that it will lead the country.
The 750-member National Assembly will convene for the vote at 9:30 a.m. next Thursday. The session may not be immediately conclusive and may be only the first of many, as a successful prime ministerial candidate must win the support of a majority of lawmakers. The pro-democracy Move Forward party and the populist Pheu Thai party trounced their conservative rivals in the May elections, securing 151 and 141 seats respectively in the 500-member lower house. Together with 6 other parties, they are expected to propose Pita as the next prime minister to replace incumbent Prayut Chan-o-cha.
Israel is withdrawing forces from Jenin after a major 2-day military raid that left dozens of Palestinians killed and thousands fleeing their homes. This comes after Israeli forces carried out airstrikes on the Gaza Strip in response to 5 rockets fired from Gaza.
At least 12 Palestinians have been killed in Jenin and 1 in Ramallah, while 1 Israeli soldier died in the largest raid in decades in the occupied West Bank. The Palestinian Health Ministry said at least 120 other people were injured. Israeli forces employed hundreds of troops, as well as drone strikes and army bulldozers that ripped up streets. Meanwhile, Israeli officials said the Palestinian driver from the West Bank, who injured 8 in a car ramming and stabbing attack in Tel Aviv on Tuesday, has been shot and killed by a civilian.
Over in China, torrential rain and flooding since Monday have killed at least 15 people in the southwest city of Chongqing. Chinese authorities have warned of extreme weather and multiple natural disasters in the coming months.
Neighbouring Sichuan province has also been badly hit, with more than 85,000 residents displaced. The country has already seen heavy rain this summer. Last week, 4 people in Sichuan were killed in landslides triggered by bad weather. The rain coincides with record heat waves in other parts of China, with the capital Beijing reaching 40 degrees Celsius for the first time in 9 years. Chinese leader Xi Jinping has also ordered authorities to prioritize residents' safety and minimize losses.
At least 10 people have been shot dead and 38 wounded in mass shootings across the U.S. over the 4th of July weekend. The incidents have also prompted a fresh call from President Joe Biden to tighten the country's gun laws as he decried the violence.
Needs to step up, pass common sense gun safety laws to protect our kids and educators. And by the way, arming teachers is not the answer. Arming teachers is not the answer. Banning assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, extensive background checks, they're part of the answer.
The long holiday weekend of bloodshed intensified after a heavily armed gunman opened fire on the streets of Philadelphia on the eve of 4th of July celebrations. 5 people were killed and 2 boys were wounded before the suspect surrendered himself to the police. Across the country in Texas, another shooting at a gathering in a parking lot killed 3 people and wounded 8. A day before, 2 people were shot dead and 28 others injured at a neighborhood block party in Baltimore. The motives in all 3 recent shootings remain unclear. There have been over 340 mass shootings in the country for 2023 so far, according to data collected by the Gun Violence Archive, which defines a mass shooting as an incident where at least 4 people are shot.
That wraps up AWANI Tonight. I'm Fana Sheh. Thank you for watching.